Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are going to really tear apart the perception of what AI means for your business.
Yeah.
Because I think when most people hear AI right now, they're picturing, a slightly frustrating customer service chatbot.
Or maybe a tool that writes a decent marketing email. They see an application.
Yeah, exactly. A shiny new tool to add to the existing toolbox.
But the sources you've gathered, they show that the reality is, well, it's dramatically different and far more foundational.
Right.
So I think our mission in this deep dive is to synthesize all this
Yeah.
and completely reframe that perspective for you. We need to stop viewing AI as, software you buy.
And start seeing it as something else.
As the indispensable, invisible infrastructure upon which all future business operations will be built.
That's a huge shift. Moving past the idea of AI as some flashy gimmick and thinking about it more like the electrical grid or the water system.
Yes. Something essential, pervasive, and just. Assumed.
And if you're not making that shift,
then you are fundamentally missing the scale of this transformation. I mean, the difference between a tool and infrastructure is, it's the difference between buying a shovel and building the freeway that carries all the commerce.
Okay, so let's unpack that reframing, because the sources lean so heavily on that analogy. AI as infrastructure. Why is that specific analogy so powerful for a business leader listening to this?
Because it hits on permanence and necessity. Think about electricity. We rely on it for every single aspect of modern life, but we don't actively think about it.
You just expect it to be there.
It's expected to be always on, powering everything silently in the background. That level of omnipresent, critical functionality is precisely what integrated AI needs to become for your organization.
A system that facilitates every transaction, every decision.
Every flow of information. And, that changes the investment mindset completely.
How so?
Well, when you buy a piece of software, you're often looking for a quick, short-term ROI, right?
Sure. What's the return on this specific spend?
But infrastructure spending is different. It's fundamentally different. It's built for longevity, for resilience, for scale. You don't build a power plant expecting it to be obsolete next year.
So you need to be thinking 5-10 years down the line.
Exactly. Building sustainable data pipelines, automated decision flows. It's about reducing systemic risk, not just fixing one little problem today.
Yeah.
And that takes leadership commitment, not just an IT department budget.
So if the opportunity is that massive, why are so many organizations failing to get it? I mean, what's the common failure point we're seeing?
It's the misapplication warning that the source material really highlights. Businesses acquire these incredible AI capabilities.
And then what?
And then they treat them like a simple, single-use tool. They fail to integrate that capability into the core operational workflow.
And the sources gave us that perfect, almost painful analogy for this failure.
The espresso machine, yes. Imagine you go out and buy a top-of-the-line, professional-grade espresso machine.
A huge, expensive piece of kit.
Massive. Designed for high-volume, precision coffee making. But instead of learning how to use it, you only use it to boil water for a cup of instant coffee.
You've invested in the Ferrari, but you're only driving it 2 miles an hour down your driveway.
Exactly. The capability is right there, the infrastructure's in place, but the application is just. It's completely wrong. You're wasting all that strategic potential.
Which I think brings us directly to this concept of automation.
Right.
Because when people hear automation, they often think of it as a shortcut, a way to cut corners or do less work. But our sources redefine it as pure leverage.
And leverage, fundamentally, is the ability to achieve nonlinear scaling.
What does that mean in practical terms?
It means you can scale your output, your processing power, your client interactions, without proportionally scaling your human workforce.
So if you used to need 3 new hires for every 10% growth.
Now you can handle 20% growth with maybe 1 additional strategic hire. It just completely alters the equation for sustainable growth.
And what you're really replacing there isn't the human, it's the dependency on the human.
That is the key insight. You are replacing human dependency. Human resources are finite. People need sleep, they take breaks, they call in sick.
And need to be trained, managed.
All of that. Automated systems, when they're integrated properly, they just run, they're predictable, they're scalable, and they provide this incredible operational stability.
Which, of course, leads to the big anxiety around all this. If we're replacing human dependency and leveraging systems, where does the human capital actually go?
That's a critical question, and it's where the sources provide some necessary clarity. The biggest misunderstanding is that the goal is replacement.
It's not.
No. The strategic goal is augmentation. We're building this infrastructure not to fire people, but to free them. We remove the repetitive, the time-consuming, the administrative drudgery.
So you're liberating the organization's collective brain power.
Precisely. You free up your human capital for the things machines can't do well: higher-level strategic thinking, complex relationship building, pure creativity.
Non-linear problem solving.
Exactly. The biggest risk to your team isn't that they'll be replaced by AI. It's that they'll be outpaced by competitors who successfully augmented their teams first.
So your team is still bogged down in spreadsheets while their team is focused purely on high-value strategy.
And that's how you lose. The risk isn't displacement, it's competitive stagnation.
Okay, so if you're the listener, the operations leader, and you're convinced, where do you even begin? What's the blueprint for actually implementing this?
The sources outline a very practical first step. It's about diagnosis,
Yeah.
not prescription.
Meaning?
Meaning you can't just buy a tool and try to jam it to a hole in your process. The first task is to rigorously identify the bottlenecks and the repetitive, time-consuming tasks within your current operations.
Find the friction points first. Where's the energy being wasted?
Absolutely. Think of it like an architectural audit of your business. Where is information flow slowing down? Where is manual data entry introducing errors?
And the sources pointed to a few key areas to look at first.
They did. They specified 3 pillars where you can usually find high-impact opportunities right away: sales processes, delivery systems, and back-end operations.
Can you give us an example in sales? What does that look like for a mid-sized firm?
Certainly. In sales, it could be automating your lead scoring process, or cleaning up your CRM data automatically, or even generating those personalized follow-up sequences.
Tasks that are critical, but, also a huge time suck.
A huge repetitive time suck, perfect for AI infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then the back end.
That's where so much hidden time gets lost.
Exactly. Things like invoice auditing, compliance checks, reconciling accounts. By embedding AI here, you're not just automating one step, you're optimizing the entire financial flow of the company.
And that translates immediately into a measurable gain.
Right away.
Okay, let's talk about those measurable outcomes because the sources provided some incredible, really concrete examples. The most dramatic one was around something they called agentic chains.
Yes. This is where the whole infrastructure concept really crystallizes. We're moving beyond a single AI doing a single task.
So what is an agentic chain?
It refers to a comprehensive closed-loop system where automated agents, robots, software, sensors, they all communicate and coordinate with each other.
Without a human in the loop for every step.
Exactly. They make autonomous, multi-step decisions.
Can you walk us through what that looks like on the ground, say, in a modern warehouse?
Sure. Imagine a massive fulfillment center. Agent A, a sensor, detects a package is the wrong weight. It doesn't just stop and flag it for a human.
Okay.
Instead, Agent A autonomously tells Agent B, a robotic arm, to reroute that package to an inspection conveyor. At the same time, Agent C updates the digital inventory and pings a human supervisor's dashboard with the exact location and the reason.
So it's a self-correcting, self-optimizing ecosystem.
It is. This decision architecture manages the entire flow inventory, packing, shipping, all with minimal human intervention in the routine stuff. And the practical result is, well, it's staggering.
So what's the actual data? What's the number tied to that kind of integration?
The sources documented a specific case where this warehouse integration resulted in a 50% reduction in labor costs.
50.
50.
A 50% reduction in costs just associated with the physical handling of goods. But that's only half of it.
Right.
That cost reduction came alongside a significant boost in accuracy and speed. So it's not just cheaper, it's better, faster, and with way fewer errors.
And that 50% number, a lot of listeners running a mid-sized company might hear that and think, okay, that's for Amazon, that's for Walmart.
And that assumption would be wrong. The data proves it.
How so?
Because the integration of AI yields these structural benefits even at the SME level. We have broader efficiency data from Epoch.
And what does that show?
It shows that businesses,
Yeah.
including small to mid-sized ones that successfully integrate AI, see an average of a 30% increase in overall operational efficiency.
30% is still a transformative number.
It's huge. And it proves that even smaller scale infrastructure investments deliver these significant measurable returns. It's not just for the tech giants.
The value is there for any business that cares about stability and scale.
As long as the focus is on systemic integration, not just buying the flashiest new tool.
Which brings us, I think, to the main strategic takeaway here. If we stop thinking about AI as software, what is the new conceptual lens leadership needs to adopt?
The final insight from the sources is clear. Stop thinking of AI as a product. Start seeing it as decision architecture.
Decision architecture, that term, it really seems to encapsulate this whole idea of embedding AI into the company's DNA. What does that architecture actually do?
It's the blueprint. It's the framework that defines how decisions flow through your organization, and critically, which of those decisions get automated.
So it defines where the AI handles the routine, the predictable.
The high-volume stuff that currently drains all your human capacity. This framework ensures that your scarce human resources are completely unburdened from the mundane.
So leadership's job becomes less about managing day-to-day tasks.
And more about governing the architecture itself, ensuring the automated decisions are aligned with the big strategic goals. It shifts the focus from what can AI do to what can you do with the leverage AI provides you.
That requires embedding AI not just in your IT department, but in the entire operational DNA of the company.
That's the core goal, full integration into the nervous system of the business.
Wow. We started this deep dive with the idea of a smart chatbot, and we've ended up realizing this is actually about building a new circulatory system for your entire business.
It really is that fundamental.
So, to quickly summarize the key shifts we've covered for you, AI moves from being a tool to foundational, pervasive infrastructure, a lot like the electrical grid. Automation isn't a shortcut, it's pure leverage, letting you scale without proportionally scaling dependency.
And the goal is always maximizing your human capital for strategy and innovation.
So the advice is,
It's simple, but it's urgent. Look critically at your current systems. Identify exactly where AI can create that leverage by removing the repetitive, time-consuming tasks. Start small sales, delivery, back-end, but you have to think big about the architectural change you're making.
and we'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. The real strategic test for any business right now isn't just chasing the latest tech trends or buying the newest software.
No, the successful leader will be the one who designs and builds the durable AI decision architecture that's going to sustain their business's strategic longevity and operational resilience for the long haul.